What's up guys, Devin is here, and today I have a video that is not plant related, but it is, in the sphere of nature, I should say, natural living. It's along with growing plants and adoring plants, trying to live a natural lifestyle is very, very important to me. I've always been very interested in trying to understand the body as well as possible. And something that I've learned a little bit about along my journey of understanding health and how to live the best life possible for my body and for my mind, my spirit, understanding that they're all connected. I've really come to understand the power of fasting and all of the things that fasting can really cure and help within our bodies can be very transformative. I've seen my uncle, my mom, both really heal themselves through fasting. And today I am starting a 5-day fast. 120 hours is my goal with a water fast. And I wanted to document my journey along these next 5 days, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, all of these sort of things. So in case you've ever been considering doing a fast yourself, maybe you would have my experience to go off of, or maybe you have something that's ailing you and you haven't heard of the idea of trying to fast in order to cure yourself. Well, in this video, I'm going to be documenting my experience. So a little background story. Basically for the last 15 years of my life, since I was about 18, I've had a very kind of odd way of eating. I only eat once a day. I eat at night. I eat a very large meal, maybe 4,000 calories, all in the span of about an hour. And then during the day, I don't eat anything. And many people find that weird. Many people have questioned why I do it, all these sort of things. And it actually stemmed from when I was younger. I was a cross-country runner, and I would run in the middle of the day with my cross-country team. And I always felt that if I ate a couple hours before, I would feel horrible while running. And I was never much of a breakfast kind of guy. So I started to do my runs, after school at 3 o'clock, and then I would come home at 4:30 and eat a big meal, and that was it. And it started to just kind of develop into this pattern, and I found that my body responded really well to it. My running got much better. I felt really clear and energized throughout the day, and I never really looked back. I've gone through periods, people in my life, my dad, my wife, you should eat something in the middle of the day. And I do, I'll try doing it. I'll maybe try to do it for a few weeks, and I never really find much of a benefit from it. It really just makes me kind of feel a little bit slow in the middle of the day when I do that. I prefer to keep my body empty until that night. But anyways, so that's kind of, I guess nowadays it's actually a pretty popular way of eating. What do they call it? The warrior diet or something like that. I started doing this 15 years ago or even longer. About 15 years ago. And I guess like that warrior diet or this, this intermittent fasting trend has become popular in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. I've been doing it for a long time, and I find, not to toot my own horn, but I find that my body is pretty receptive, pretty strong. My digestion is quite good. It keeps my skin looking good, all these sort of things. But along with that intermittent fasting lifestyle that I've had for a long time, I would also do once a month, I'll do a 40-hour fast where I would go an entire day without eating just to give my body a chance to reset. And I always found that it would really do some really great things for my body. It would, help me keep all of my functions going strong. I'm a pretty thin guy, and it would, my body would have that opportunity to focus its energies, its efforts on healing rather than just taking that food and digesting. So much of our daily life is just spent, our cells of our body are just spent digesting all the time. We're constantly filling our bellies with food, and our body's focus is on that digestion. But when you go without food for a while, your body can attack other things in the body, try to heal other things. And so I would try to do about once a month a nice like 36, 40-hour fast. And I think it's been one of the keys to keeping me young and strong and healthy. But anyways, so this year, I actually, despite all that, I'm tooting my own horn on the one hand, but on the other hand, I've had a little bit of a health setback this year. Some scar tissue buildup on the inside of my body. I guess genetically have a disposition for scar tissue buildup. Like my mom, family, all have Dupuytren's in their hands. Just like your body has a hard time healing and then scar tissue gets built up in your hands. That's what kind of Dupuytren's is. But it can also take place in other parts of your body. So the doctors have told me, there's a couple of FDA approved solutions, so to speak, but the efficacy of these procedures is not very high, but the risks are quite high. And living a natural lifestyle, eating organically, trying to avoid chemical pills and all that sort of stuff, I'm doing whatever I can naturally to try to avoid those sort of procedures because the risks associated with them are quite great. And if there is a natural way to heal, I should try it. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I wanted to do this fast in order to try to initiate some sort of healing within my body so that I can avoid any sort of chemical injection or surgeries that could have some debilitating side effects. And this health condition I've had it's not been easy. It's been definitely been a big change in the quality of my life mentally and emotionally, physically. And so I'm kind of at the point where I'll try anything to try to heal it. And I know a lot of people get to that point in their own lives and they don't know where to turn, so they turn to the chemicals, they turn to the surgeries. Maybe fasting will help, maybe it won't, but it's worth trying. There's no risks. I'm gonna probably lose 10 pounds in 5 days, and for me, that's a lot of weight to lose. I know that scares my parents, but I'll easily gain that weight back. But so the idea behind fasting, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist or anything like that, just what I've learned from my own body from years and 15 years of fasting, as well as research is, there's a point in the process of fasting when your body starts to undergo what's called autophagy. And, that's auto, the prefix auto means self, and phagy, the suffix phagy, refers to eating. So it's like you're eating yourself. So basically, once your body consumes all of the food in your stomach, all of that sort of stuff, it starts to consume itself. And that sounds kind of scary, but it's actually quite amazing, quite great, because your body starts to consume any sort of thing that shouldn't be there, that doesn't need to be there, any sort of excess. So my thought process is this scar tissue is excess. It's not supposed to be there. My hope, my prayer, the reason for doing this is that my body will start to consume that scar tissue. That's my hope. That's the thesis behind this bodily experiment that I'm going to do. And so I wanted to document the process and let you guys know how I feel, because I know by hour 72 I'm going to be feeling weak, I'm going to be feeling headachy, and all sort of things. And so if in case maybe you have some sort of health issue that you want to try a natural approach to, you'll have something to go to, someone that has done it, and their experiences. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you've watched my other videos, and at this point, maybe you trust my opinion, maybe you trust that I'm just, my whole Plant Vibrations channel is just to share my experiences with plants, and this is kind of a step in that, kind of a related direction. So what I'll be doing, it's gonna be a water fast. Now, I drink caffeine, I drink coffee, it's weaning yourself off of caffeine prior is the best way to do it. And so I've been slowly decreasing my coffee intake. Today, this morning is Wednesday, around 11 a.m. I had some coffee this morning, but tomorrow I'm not gonna have any coffee. What I will have is yerba mate or yerba mate, which from the research I've done, yes, it has caffeines, but there's also some nutrition within that. It's a tea that you brew. I think it's from Peru. It's what the Incans would do as they were building Machu Picchu. Supposedly, it's like a story I've heard. So I will have some of that just so I don't get too headachy from lack of caffeine. I'm also going to be taking digestive enzymes. So you can, maybe I'll get the enzymes and show you guys what I'll be taking for tomorrow. And that's kind of going to be the thing. So I'm trying to, it's the hardest part is to really kind of have a blocked out schedule, like 5 days. I don't know 5 days. 5 days I chose because it sounds like doable. Like 10 days sounds like too much for me. 3 days I've done, and it was hard. So I want to push the limits and try to get into that autophagy state and stay there for a while so my body can really consume. From what I've learned, what I've heard, your body starts to enter that autophagy after 24, 48 hours. So if you get to 48 hours and then you quit, well then your body's not going to start to exhibit all, the benefits. So you got to stick to it. And I know there's going to be a lot of emotions, a lot of headaches, a lot of yearning for food that's going to take place. So I wanted to document that process and document that journey along the way. So today is Wednesday, August 3rd at around 11 a.m. I'll be back tomorrow, let you guys know how I'm feeling. This first, because I've done so many 36, 40-hour fasts, like today I'm not worried at all. It'll be fine. I know the second night sleeping probably will be challenging. Third night, probably challenging. Maybe start to ease off on the fourth night. So we'll see. Anyways, I'll be here to let you guys know how it's going and how I'm feeling, and maybe encourage you to try a fast yourself. I think there's a lot of power within them. So we'll see. All right, so here we are in day 2. It's been 24 hours. Last night was not so bad. I did wake up a couple of times in the middle of the night with some hunger pangs, but nothing too bad. I found switching to lay on my stomach would help me kind of absorb those hunger pains and fall back asleep, so that was good. Yesterday went pretty well. No headache, no sort of, the first day is kind of the most low key, I would say. And I think in terms of like water consumption, I probably consumed like 2 large bottles of water, so probably like 70, 80 ounces of water. You definitely don't need to be like chugging water all day, especially while you're not eating. It's gonna just pass right through you. So it is good, obviously, to drink water, but you don't need to like go crazy. So I'm drinking my tea, my yerba mate. I did wake up with a little bit of a headache, but not anything too bad. And like I was saying, I'm going to be drinking yerba mate tea. I thought about drinking some herbal teas yesterday, and I think that's totally, an option. Maybe I will today, just to like, you start to get a little bit bored, like trying to figure out how to fill the time. I think that's probably the hardest part of it all, is like, you're weak, tired, and it's like you don't know what to do. It's like you just kind of feel like in this like blasé state of mind, which is kind of a refreshing thing to do since we're never really in that state of mind. But that brings me back to the point of like, you really need to plan it out in terms of like giving yourself these days to not be having too much on your agenda, like work-wise. Like today, I do have school for like 6 hours, but after this, like for the rest of the 5 days, like I don't have anything on my agenda, very, very minimal work. So I planned it out like that, and I think that's gonna be good. So let me see, I've also been thinking about taking, like electrolytes. I don't know. It's like, I'm not sure if I should or not. At this point, I'm trying to really kind of stay away from any sort of added anything. I am taking these E3 enzymes, digestive enzymes, which I think are important while you're doing the fast, so that will help you kind of like cycle through all of your, whatever you're trying to eliminate. But otherwise, I feel pretty good. I feel, pretty alert, and no serious headaches yet. That'll probably start maybe tonight, tomorrow. And that's really the sign that the toxins or your body is starting to eliminate things that don't need to be there. So that's all for now. And all right, wish me luck. All right, guys, so today is Friday. It's like 1 o'clock. I've now officially passed through 2 full nights, 2 full days without having consumed any food. Just been consuming water, a little bit of yerba mate tea in the morning. I haven't had any herbal tea. I've thought about it, but still haven't had any. I still might. I don't know. But so today, I got up this morning, went downstairs to drink about 15, 18 ounces of water. Definitely got pretty lightheaded. Needed to, go sit down right away. But that passed after I had some water and let my body start to wake up. A couple things I wanted to bring up, the question of when does the fast actually start? So the last time I actually consumed any food was on Tuesday night. Does that mean the fast started the minute I stopped eating on Tuesday night? Some people would say yes. I personally think that it starts like the next morning, like the first time where you're like skipping a meal, like, to be all, clear, like you pass your bowel movements of the food from the night before, your stomach is empty, and that's kind of when the fast starts, at least. That's the way I view it. Everyone has their own opinions on when the fast actually starts, but that's kind of my benchmark was, Wednesday morning. And so now it's been, since Wednesday morning, it's been like 55 hours or so. And so that's one thing I just wanted to bring up really quickly. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, yes, like last night I was getting pretty headachy. Not so bad today, just a little bit, like definitely low energy. Like I went out to get the mail and I was pretty tired, just walking up to the mailbox, but that's expected, not something to be concerned about. In terms of mental clarity, I'm still like working at my desk, working from home. And I find that my mind is pretty sharp, pretty darn clean, and able to really kind of like pierce through my work needs pretty easily, assuming that headaches aren't kind of disrupting your ability to think clearly, which for me they're not, which is good. Maybe they will later. But that's kind of where that is. Last night I also slept pretty well, probably 8.5 hours, I would say. Surprisingly, definitely like in the middle of the night, you wake up, you feel your stomach like pretty low, like yearning for food. That's absolutely normal. And you just kind of do whatever you do to fall back asleep. I thought maybe I would take melatonin. Samantha talked me out of that. She said, no, you shouldn't, you don't need it. And so I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm trying to really eliminate as much as possible. Yes, your yerba mate does have caffeine, I know. Is that cheating? I don't know, maybe, but I think these are also personal. Doing a fast is such a personal thing. And we're all, no matter whichever direction you take your fast, you're going to gain what you need to gain in that fast. So you really have to do what works for you and try to figure out, don't be rigid. Don't go and read something online about what a fast is and try to follow that like that. It's probably going to be really challenging for you. Likewise, I'm just giving my experience, and if you want to take any of my suggestions, that's great. If not, then it's okay. do what you need to do. Anyways, so here we are, Friday. Samantha did make some rice and plantains last night, and I wanted them so much. No, not that much. I entered this with the mindset, and so it hasn't been that hard to resist food. Maybe it'll get harder tonight. We'll see. Anyways, so that's for day 3. Yeah, I will talk to you soon. All right, guys, well, I've made it to Saturday. It's like noon on Saturday, so I'm at like, would that be 24, 48, 72, maybe like 76 hours since my fast legitimately started on Wednesday morning. And so what have I experienced thus far? I guess in terms of like fatigue, like my legs are pretty darn tired. Walking around feels like a lot of exercise. And my mind is kind of in an interesting state. It's like I have this like contradictory feeling in my brain. It's like on the one hand, like I feel like super, super duper clear in my brain, like zero brain fuzz, like nada. But at the other side, like the contradiction is, it's like a little bit of, I feel like a little bit detached from my body. Also a little bit achy in the head still. And so it's like, I feel super clear, but I also feel disconnected from my body. That's kind of how I've been. And yesterday, the thing is like, I think one of the hardest things is like occupying your time, so that you have things to occupy your mind, but that don't take a lot of effort or energy to keep you from like wanting to go eat or like thinking about eating. But somehow the time seems to move differently during the fast. It moves like rapidly but slowly at the same time until you reach like 10 o'clock and it's like, all right, time to go into bed. And I've definitely been staying up later, like waiting till I'm like really, really tired to try to go to sleep, rather than like trying to force myself to go to sleep at like my normal hour, which then you lay in bed and you feel your belly like rumbling and then you want to like, you get frustrated or something like that. So I've been staying up later and trying to just like hope that helps me to just fall asleep faster, and it's been working, which is good. But I've also been waking up earlier, so definitely maybe like an hour less of sleep per night than I would normally get. But I feel like generally pretty good, I would say. Not like super headachy, but at the same time, like I don't feel like anything is like any monumental changes are happening in my body, and I think that's probably pretty normal. I think probably gradual changes are occurring inside the body, but also it feels like maybe I'm just trying to, wish my way, you have wishful thinking that like, doing this fast is allowing my organs and my blood all to sort of regenerate. And then even after I've finished the fast, it's like I've ignited like fresh blood and like I've ignited my organs to work more efficiently so that they do like process things and hopefully, in my case, break down the scar tissue. And that was definitely like, yesterday I was like with Samantha, she was eating and I was like, oh, this looks so good. But I had the motivation of doing this new experience, doing this experiment on my body, because who knows, maybe it won't help my scar tissue at all. But at least I won't be wondering if there was some sort of natural option that helped me heal without using any sort of additional chemicals or surgery or whatnot. And I can check that off my list. It's, I feel like a lot of times with health issues, it really is just a matter of checking things off the list, trying things until you find something that works. I was at my general practitioner's recently talking to her about that idea, and she's like, yeah, like there's just a lot of things that doctors just know absolutely nothing about. Like we just haven't evolved at that point. So it really is a lot of trial and error. So if I'm going to do a trial and error, I may as well do it, try all the natural ways, non-invasive ways first before I do trial and error of chemical and or invasive practices. So that's kind of my thinking behind that, or behind the fast. And at this point, I've made it through the halfway point. Hopefully the second half is faster, easier than the first half. So until tomorrow. All right, guys. Well, I'm a little bit bummed out. It's Sunday morning, like 11 a.m., and I just broke the fast earlier than I was hoping for. So in total, it was like, if you time it from like Wednesday morning until Sunday morning, it was about a 72-hour fast. I was hoping to make it until tomorrow morning, but overnight I started to get some. So yesterday we were spent quite a bit of time out, like I was out sunbathing, which I think I should not have been doing, as well as I took like a long bath, which definitely makes you sweat. And I started to get some pains in my chest by nighttime. And I think I could have avoided that had I been taking some extra salts, some like Himalayan salts, or even some electrolytes, some really electrolyte powder added to water. I heard that it can be common for people that, if you're drinking too much water and you're kind of flushing everything out, but you're not adding back any salts or electrolytes, that it can make your chest feel a little bit tight. And as I was sleeping, I felt pretty uncomfortable, and I thought, all right, my body's just processing. It's definitely in this regenerative state, and this is just like a resulting action of the fast. But I think it was probably due to the lack of salt or electrolytes, which, as I understand now, I didn't previously. Taking electrolytes or salt won't impede your fasting process. So learn from my mistake. I got about 75% of the way through what I was hoping to do, but now I know a little bit better. I know a little bit more. Maybe in a couple months I'll try it again to see if I can make it the full 120 hours, whatever it may be. But in terms of coming back into food, something that you should really kind of be aware of is feeding yourself pretty light, easily digestible foods, whether that's some fruit juices, some fresh fruit, or very easy to digest foods. I ate blueberries, tomatoes from our garden. I had some sprouts, some alfalfa sprouts. What else did I have? I had a tortilla, and that was pretty much it. Try to keep it really kind of light, low-key, easy for your body to assimilate and receive that food without kind of clogging up your systems after it being super emptied out. So don't go and have a huge pasta dinner right away. It's hard because the whole time you're thinking, what meal am I gonna make for myself once I get to break the fast? But you gotta really give yourself a little bit of time to ease into it. Anyways, fasts it's a very personal thing. If you are considering doing a fast, maybe you learned a little bit. From my experience, don't get down on yourself if you don't make it all the way that you want to. Just try to, step by step as you can. And I think you will find that the benefits are pretty great. My head still feels quite clear. Definitely would say that yesterday was the hardest day, even before my chest started to kind of seize up a little bit. Definitely had the most weakness and headachy energy yesterday, but overall I think that was a good experience, a good learning experience, and definitely the longest fast that I've ever done. So going from 3.5 days, maybe the next time I'll be able to make it to that full 5 days. So we will see. Anyways, a different video than the normal. Leave any comments of your experiences fasting, if you've had any success stories fasting, what you've achieved or healed, or if you don't believe in the fasting, leave comments about that too. It's this is a YouTube community to learn and share our experiences. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. Maybe I'll do some more health-related videos in the future. Leave a comment if you did enjoy this sort of alternative video. Anyways, I'll catch you guys soon. Ciao.